I just recorded my first scene recording for my Chosen One Comedy Book 2 in forever, and it was so nice. I could just talk at a normal pace without worrying about speech recognition misunderstanding me. I could pause it when I wanted to stop and think about things. I don't know why, but for some reason I had been kind of nervous to start doing scene recordings again. I have no idea why. It was great. It's such a nice way to be able to continue working on my book without hurting my wrists so they can rest and heal, but I can still make progress. So I feel like I've thrown the word scene recording around a lot in this vlog, and I thought I should just quickly explain it because it's kind of weird and I haven't seen anybody else write a book this way. It's just a method that I came up with so that I can still work on my book when I don't want to do any typing at all, not even speech recognition, where I have to do a little bit of editing to neaten everything up. This is something that I can do. I can basically write the scene by talking. So what I mean by scene recording is I literally take either my phone or my MP3 player, any sort of device where you can record your voice. It has a voice recording feature, and I just talk out the scene. The main thing that I need is the ability to pause the recording and then get back to it, so I can pause it to think, and then when I have a sentence in mind I will say the sentence and then pause it again when I'm stuck again. And just keep doing that until I've gotten the entire scene finished, or I've gotten a good portion of it finished. And then, once I have that, which will inevitably have some like and struggles and me correcting myself, I'll just be like, no, wait, I want to say it this way, and then continue on and say it in the best way possible that I can. So I'll have that recording with all of my bumbling around, and then after that, sometimes if I'm feeling like being extra organized, I will go and take another device and I will listen to the first version of the scene recording, which I call the rough scene recording, and I will only talk out the perfected sentences. So that way, when the neat version of the scene recording is done, it is just a solid voice recording of my completed sentences and the best wording that I have come up with. And so it's basically like, you could consider it an audiobook version almost of the scene. It's just like an audio version of the scene. And so what I do then is when I'm ready to go and dictate my scene into the computer, I will have one earphone in to my neat version of the scene recording, and I can just go along and dictate it into the computer, and obviously pause it whenever I need to, because I always have to correct my dictating software. My speak recognition has a lot of issues. That way I can just have all of my ideas neatly in one place, and I don't have to worry about losing my sentence because I've constructed a decent sentence. And a lot of times when I'm just writing speech recognition, I get really frustrated because I have to spend so long correcting different words that I worry I'm gonna like forget the sentence that I came up with in my head. But when I have it all recorded, I don't have to worry about that, so it's a lot less stressful. And that's what I mean by scene recording, because there are some days when I don't want to do any typing whatsoever, because speech recognition does take a certain amount of typing to fix any errors. This is a way for me to drop my MP3 player, get my scenes out of my head and somewhere else without me having to do any typing whatsoever. And that's what a scene recording is when I go on about that. Because I feel like I never actually explained what I'm talking about, even though I kind of implied what I'm talking about. Now you know. A scene recording writing method. For some reason, I feel like the quality of the writing while I'm just talking out the scenes is terrible. I also feel like they're coming out too short. I don't know if I just need to get used to this new writing process or visualize the scenes more before I even start recording the scene, or what. So I realized that to go forward with my scene recording writing method, I actually need more information. So I'm going to dictate at least one of the scene recordings that I have into my computer and find out exactly how long the scene is. I personally think it's a really short scene, only like 200 to 300 words. Both scenes that I wrote as scene recordings seem to be very short. But if they turn out to be longer, then I'll realize that I don't really have anything to worry about and it's all in my head. But if they are really short, then I might need to figure out another process for this whole scene recording to dictation style of writing my books. Guess we'll see. I have amazing news. So I just dictated a 5.5-minute neat scene recording into my computer and it ended up at 440 words, which I think is really good. I was concerned that it would only be like 200 words because 5.5 minutes seemed really short, but it's actually a pretty decent lengthed scene. And I actually think it's pretty good. The writing was a lot better than I gave myself credit for because I guess I had already been editing it the first time I re-recorded the scene recording, and then I edited it again when I was putting it into the computer. So it's kind of almost like a third draft already of a scene. And of course I'm going to edit it again because I realized that I wanted to add some things to the scene. I don't have any description right now. I want to add in some descriptions, and I also want to add a lot more emotion into the scene, but as like a base for the scene. I feel like I've said scene like 50 times. It's pretty strong and pretty solid, and I'm actually really happy with it. So I am super relieved. I can continue to use the scene recording method and not stress out about it. It works. I just need to have a little bit more faith in myself and my writing ability. It's just kind of weird to talk it out rather than write it out because I can't see what I had written before or said before, which I think is what was freaking me out. I just assumed that it was really terrible. But you can still fix it anyway, even if it is bad. But it actually wasn't that bad. So that's the silver lining in all of this. And I also didn't account for the fact that my talking speed, when it is translated into words, is actually like pretty fast, which is kind of interesting. So that's new, and I'm going to kind of try and play around with the idea of predicting how long my scenes are going to be based on how long the recording is. So again, it was 440 words for a 5.5-minute recording. I might do a little math later and figure out exactly what that means, and I'll play around with it too when I do other scene recordings and figure out if I can predict how long a scene's going to be based on the minutes of the recording, which would be kind of interesting to do. I don't know why I find statistics like that interesting, but here we are, and I'm glad that scene recordings work. Good, because I really didn't know what I was going to do otherwise. Hello, it is Saturday, and yesterday I didn't do any scene recordings or speech recognition writing of my book. Instead, I just worked a little bit on character development for the triplets, and I think I came up with a few good ideas that I could use for their character arcs, which is exciting. So it is currently Sunday and time to wrap up the vlog for the last couple weeks. So yesterday I did do another rough scene recording. I finished the scene recording for the scene that I had started writing with speech recognition and then was having trouble with it. So in total, the rough version of that scene recording ended up being about 30 minutes long. So that's a good amount of pages, I think. I haven't done the neat version yet, but I do want to give a total overview of what I've done in the last, I think, 2 weeks or so that I have been vlogging. So I did a total of 4 complete scene recordings. Now I'm counting the rough versions and the neat version as one scene because it is still all working on the same scene. So even though I have a whole bunch of different files, I'm just counting it as one scene, if it is one scene. And I wrote 2 scenes into my computer. There was a partial scene, but I'm not counting that. I'm just going to give that scene to next week since I feel like the majority of the scene is going to be in that final portion. And I wrote a total of 1,150 words, which is not really that much, but I haven't been doing any writing lately, so it's actually a win because I've been resting my wrists, and this is the way I came up with where I can actually get some words in, so that's actually a lot better than nothing, and I'm pretty pleased with the fact that I've still gotten 2 scenes done. And another thing that I've added to my wrap-up is I have 2 unwritten scene recordings that I can dictate into the computer going forward. So I'm going to keep track of how many that I have because I think I'm actually going to be focusing on doing the scene recordings rather than dictating things into the computer just for now to help out my wrists and let them rest a little bit more. I'm not going to worry so much about word count or actually getting the scenes into the computer. Of course, I would like to get them into the computer eventually, but I'm going to focus more on like getting the flow of ideas going better while just talking it into a voice recorder. I think is more important just to get that process down a little bit better and get actually the story out in some form, even if it's not in the computer yet. And that is it for my week. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you next time. Bye!